At the far edges of Southeast Asia, beyond highways and skylines, there are villages where time moves differently, where traditions are not preserved in museums, but lived every single day. In this journey through enchanted villages in Southeast Asia, we explore communities that have endured for centuries, balancing history, identity, and survival in extraordinary landscapes. In northern Vietnam, Duong Lam Ancient Village reveals the quiet beauty of traditional Red River Delta life, with centuries-old laterite brick homes, narrow lanes, and communal houses that whisper stories of dynasties long past. High in the mountains of the Philippines lies Buscalan Village, known for its ancient tattooing tradition and as the home of the world's oldest traditional tattoo artist, where sacred ink patterns are tapped by hand, preserving a cultural language etched directly onto the skin. And in the misty highlands of Luzon, Sagada presents one of the region's most striking burial customs. Wooden coffins suspended along sheer limestone cliffs, a spiritual practice that reflects deep beliefs about life, death, and the afterlife. These villages are more than destinations. They are living testaments to resilience and heritage. Join us as we step into worlds where culture, nature, and history stand bravely on the edge of modern change. Trunnion. On the eastern edge of Lake Batur, inside the vast volcanic caldera of Mount Batur in Bali, the secluded village of Trunnion preserves burial customs believed to be more than 1,000 years old. Home to the Bali Aga people, the settlement sits roughly 3,000 feet above sea level, surrounded by cooled lava fields and steep crater walls shaped by ancient eruptions. Here, the deceased are not buried or cremated. After a ceremonial washing, bodies are placed gently on the ground beneath a massive banyan tree called Taru Menyan, meaning fragrant tree. Local belief holds that the tree's natural oils neutralize the odor of decomposition. Only about 11 bodies may rest there at one time. When space is needed, older remains are respectfully moved aside, and skulls are arranged near stone shrines. To outsiders, the sight can feel haunting, Yet for villagers, this open-air resting place reflects harmony with nature's cycle. In Trunnion, death is neither hidden nor feared, but returned quietly to earth beneath a sacred canopy that has stood for centuries. Duong Lam Ancient Village. Just 30 miles west of Hanoi, Duong Lam Ancient Village preserves a rare portrait of rural Vietnam, shaped by more than 1,000 years of history. Recognized as a National Heritage Site in 2005, the village is known for its houses built from laterite blocks, iron-rich stone formed in tropical soil that hardens like brick when exposed to air. Many of these homes date back 3 to 4 centuries, their wooden beams darkened by time, their courtyards shaded by banyan trees. Narrow alleys wind past moss-covered gates and communal houses, where villagers still gather for festivals, honoring local heroes Phung Hung and Ngo Quyen, figures linked to Vietnam's 9th and 10th century struggles for independence. Visitors wander slowly along stone paths, pausing for green tea or traditional rice cake, made from family recipes passed down for generations. In Duong Lam, daily life unfolds at an unhurried rhythm, farmers tending fields, elders sharing stories, offering a living archive of architecture, culture, and resilience at the edge of a rapidly modernizing world. High in the Cordillera Mountains of northern Luzon, nearly 1,600 feet above sea level, Boscalan Village clings to steep ridges carved by centuries of wind and rain. Accessible only by a mountain trek of more than 1 mile, this remote community in Kalinga Province is home to the Batbat people, whose terraced rice fields step down the slopes like living stairways, engineered generations ago to capture monsoon waters and prevent erosion. For over 500 years, Boscalan has guarded a sacred tradition of hand-tapped tattooing known as batok. Using a pomelo thorn and natural charcoal ink, patterns are tapped rhythmically into the skin, each line symbolizing courage, identity, or protection. The village gained global attention through Apo Wang Od, a centenarian tattoo artist, now more than 100 years old, whose steady hands continue to practice the ancient art. Today, travelers from around the world hike into Bascalan, seeking not just a tattoo, but a story etched in heritage. Bat Trang Ceramics Village. Just 8 miles southeast of Hanoi, Bat Trang Ceramics Village rises along the fertile banks of the Red River, where mineral-rich clay deposits have sustained pottery traditions for more than 7 centuries. Founded during the Lai dynasty in the 1400s, the village became a major ceramic center as artisans refined kiln technologies capable of reaching temperatures above 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, transforming soft clay into stone like porcelain. Today, more than 1,000 households remain connected to ceramic production. The handmade process begins with filtering and kneading river clay, followed by shaping on foot-powered wheels, air drying for several days, and wood or gas firing that can last up to 48 hours. Intricate motifs, dragons, lotus petals, and cobalt blue calligraphy are painted using mineral-based glazes that react chemically under extreme heat, creating luminous crackle finishes unique to each piece. Visitors wander narrow brick lanes lined with kilns and workshops, watching artisans steady their hands against spinning clay. In Bat Trang, science and tradition fuse, turning earth, water, fire, and time into enduring works of cultural identity. Ban Shanghai. Along a quiet bend of the Mekong River, about 15 miles upstream from Luang Prabang in northern Laos, Ban Shanghai has distilled its identity into clay jars and copper stills for more than 2 centuries. Often called the Whiskey Village, this riverside community sits in a humid tropical zone where rice harvests average 2 crops per year, providing the essential starch for fermentation. Traditional Lao rice whiskey, known locally as Lao Lao, begins with steamed sticky rice fermented for nearly 1 week before being distilled over wood-fired stoves in simple metal drums. The alcohol content can reach 40 to 50% by volume. Clear spirits are sometimes infused with forest herbs, ginseng roots, or small, preserved reptiles, creating striking amber bottles that line wooden shelves. For villagers, distilling is both livelihood and ritual. The craft links agriculture, microbiology, and ancestral knowledge passed through generations. Today, riverboats carrying thousands of visitors each year stop at Banzhanghai, where the scent of wood smoke and fermenting rice drifts through the air, blending science, tradition, and tourism into one enduring cultural spirit. Muina Fishing Village. Along Vietnam's southeastern coast, roughly 120 miles east of Ho Chi Minh City, Mui Ni Fishing Village stretches beside a calm crescent of the South China Sea. Sheltered by natural sand dunes that rise more than 100 feet high, the shoreline becomes a mosaic of color at dawn, when hundreds of round, bamboo basket boats, known locally as Thang Chai, float like bright coins on blue water. Founded as a small Cham and Vietnamese fishing community centuries ago, Mui Ni still revolves around the rhythm of the tide. Before sunrise, fishermen haul in nets heavy with squid, anchovies, and mackerel, unloading catches that can total several tons on a busy morning. Along the sandy shore, a lively seafood market forms within hours, where traders negotiate prices in rapid exchanges and baskets overflow with silver-scaled fish. Visitors walking through the market witness a living maritime culture, boats creaking, waves lapping, vendors laughing, where daily life, coastal science, and tradition merge in a landscape shaped by wind, water, and time. Sagada. Perched nearly 5,000 feet above sea level in the limestone highlands of Mountain Province, Sagada rests within a dramatic landscape carved by caves, cliffs, and mist-covered pine forests. Sagada is best known for its hanging coffins, a sacred burial tradition suspended along vertical limestone cliffs. Crafted from hollowed pine logs measuring roughly 6 feet in length, each coffin is positioned several yards above the ground, secured with wooden pegs driven into rock. Elders once carved their own coffins before death, inscribing names and symbolic patterns that reflect lineage and spiritual beliefs. Anthropologists suggest the elevation protects remains from floods and animals, but spiritually, height is believed to bring the departed closer to ancestral spirits. Visitors hiking Echo Valley witness rows of weathered coffins clinging to stone, silent testaments to a worldview where geography, faith, and engineering converge on the edge of the sky. Van Phuc Silk Village. Just 6 miles southwest of Hanoi's Old Quarter, Van Phuc Silk Village has woven its identity into Vietnam's cultural fabric for more than 1,000 years. Nestled along the New River, the village developed during the Lý Dynasty, when royal courts favored its lightweight silk for ceremonial robes. The region's humid subtropical climate, with average temperatures around 75 degrees Fahrenheit, creates ideal conditions for mulberry cultivation, the essential food source for silkworms. Traditional silk production here follows a meticulous sequence. Silkworm cocoons are gently boiled to soften seracan, then reeled into threads finer than a human hair, often measuring less than 1/20th of a millimeter in diameter. Artisans weave on wooden looms that can produce nearly 10 feet of fabric per day, depending on pattern complexity. Signature motifs, floating clouds, cranes, and stylized lotus petals are dyed using natural pigments, producing luminous fabrics that shift subtly under light. Walking through Van Phuc's narrow lanes, visitors hear the steady rhythm of looms echoing from century-old homes. In this village, biology, climate science, and human craftsmanship intertwine, transforming delicate filament into enduring symbols of heritage and elegance. Korowai Tribe. Deep in the remote lowland rainforests of southeastern Papua, near the border of Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, the Korowai tribe has lived in isolation for centuries within a dense, tropical ecosystem, receiving more than 100 inches of rainfall each year. Towering sago palms and hardwood trees rising over 100 feet high shape both the landscape and the architecture of daily life. The Korowai are known for building tree houses that can stand 60 to 100 feet, above the forest floor. Constructed from ironwood posts, rattan lashings, and sago palm leaves, these elevated homes are engineered without nails, relying instead on tension, balance, and deep knowledge of wood strength. Built high to avoid flooding, insects, and rival clans, the structures also serve as watchtowers over hunting grounds. Anthropologists estimate some homes require several days of coordinated labor, with entire families climbing barefoot to assemble beams by hand. Suspended between earth and canopy, Korowai treehouses reflect a profound understanding of ecology, where survival, engineering, and spiritual belief rise together into the rainforest sky. Malin Flower Village. In the northern outskirts of Hanoi, about 12 miles from the city center, Malin Flower Village unfolds across the fertile Red River Delta, where layers of alluvial soil deposited over thousands of years create ideal conditions for intensive horticulture. Established in the late 20th century, the village gradually shifted from traditional rice farming to specialized flower cultivation, and today, hundreds of farming households manage nearly 300 acres of blossoms. Seasonal cycles guide every stage of growth. Farmers carefully regulate irrigation, soil nutrients, and daylight exposure to ensure chrysanthemums, roses, and lilies bloom precisely in time for Tet, the Lunar New Year, when demand can increase 2 or 3 times within a single month. During the annual Spring Flower Festival, thousands of visitors wander through geometric fields of yellow and crimson stretching toward the horizon. A wholesale flower market operates year-round, dispatching fresh-cut stems to Hanoi within hours of harvest. In My Linh, agriculture becomes artistry, where climate science, patient cultivation, and cultural celebration converge, sustaining both local livelihoods and the enduring Vietnamese tradition of honoring beauty through flowers. Quoy Ki Stone Village. High in the limestone mountains of Cao Bang Province, about 200 miles north of Hanoi, Quoy Ki Stone Village rests at nearly 2,000 feet above sea level, near the emerald waters of Ban Giok Waterfall. Founded more than 400 years ago by the Tay ethnic community, the village is shaped by geology as much as by history. Massive limestone formations, formed over hundreds of millions of years, dominate the landscape, and here, stone is not just scenery, but structure. Nearly every home is built from hand-cut rock blocks, stacked without modern cement, in techniques passed down through at least 10 generations. Thick stone walls, often more than 1 foot wide, regulate indoor temperatures, keeping interiors cool during humid summers and warm in winter's mountain chill. Courtyards are paved with flat river stones, while stone fences, wells, and even grain grinding mills define daily life. Farmers once used heavy circular millstones to process corn and rice, turning geology into sustenance. Today, visitors walk along narrow stone lanes, polished by centuries of footsteps. In Khoi Ki, rock is memory, an enduring symbol of resilience, cultural identity, and a sustainable architecture carved directly from the earth itself. Ban Rak Thai. Perched at nearly 3,600 feet above sea level along the Thai-Myanmar border, Ban Rak Thai is a mountain village shaped by migration and mist. Founded in the mid-1950s by former Yunnanese settlers, the community overlooks a small reservoir that mirrors rows of wooden houses and crimson lanterns glowing at dusk. In the cool season, temperatures can drop below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, creating an ideal microclimate for tea cultivation. Terraced hillsides surrounding the village are planted with oolong and other high mountain varieties, where careful pruning and controlled oxidation transform fresh leaves into aromatic teas within hours of harvest. Farmers typically pick the youngest 2 leaves and a bud, repeating the cycle every few weeks during peak season. At sunrise, dozens of small wooden boats drift across the red-tinted water, carrying visitors drawn by the fusion of Chinese heritage and northern Thai landscape. In Ban Rak Thai, geography, agriculture, and memory steep together, brewing not only tea, but a living story of resilience on the edge of 2 nations. Way Rebo Village. Hidden nearly 3,600 feet above sea level in the misty highlands of Flores Island, Way Rebo Village rests within a basin of dense tropical forest, surrounded by steep volcanic ridges that rise like natural walls. Founded more than 100 years ago by the Manggarai people, the village remains accessible only by a trek of roughly 3 miles through mountain trails, preserving both isolation and tradition. At the center stand 7 cone-shaped houses, known as Mbaru Niang, rising nearly 50 feet tall. Built entirely from wood, bamboo, and palm fiber, each 5-tiered structure narrows toward a thatched peak, engineered to withstand heavy monsoon rains and strong mountain winds. The thick palm roof acts as natural insulation, regulating indoor temperatures despite humidity levels that often exceed 80%. Life here moves at an unhurried rhythm. Women weave intricate textiles on backstrap looms, transforming hand-spun cotton into geometric patterns dyed with natural pigments. Children play barefoot across grassy clearings, while elders tend small coffee plots on terraced slopes. In Wairibo, architecture, ecology, and community exist in quiet balance, an enduring mountain sanctuary where ancestral design meets the living forest. Sade Village. On the southern plains of Lombok Island, about 30 minutes from the coastal city of Mataram, Sade Village preserves the living heritage of the Sasak people in a landscape shaped by dry tropical hills and seasonal monsoon winds. Founded centuries ago, the settlement remains home to fewer than 1,000 residents, many of whom still follow ancestral building techniques refined over generations. The traditional houses, known as Bail Tani, are constructed from bamboo frames tied with rattan and roofed with thick layers of alang-alang grass that can last up to 5 years under intense equatorial sun. Their low, curved thatched roofs slope almost to the ground, designed to deflect heavy rain and regulate interior heat. Floors are made from a mixture of clay and rice husks, then polished with a thin layer of cow dung. Scientifically, the dried organic coating acts as a natural sealant, reducing dust and repelling insects through antimicrobial properties. Life in Sade unfolds at a deliberate pace. women sit beneath shaded verandas, skillfully weaving intricate songket textiles on wooden looms, a craft that every Sasak girl traditionally learns before marriage. Patterns often symbolize fertility, protection, and harmony with nature. In this quiet village, architecture, ecology, and daily ritual blend seamlessly, demonstrating how indigenous knowledge transforms simple materials into sustainable design and enduring cultural identity. Chamorro Lawang. Perched at nearly 7,200 feet above sea level on the edge of the Tengah caldera, Chamorro Lawang is a mountain village shaped by fire and time. Located in East Java, it overlooks Mount Bromo, one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes, which rises about 7,600 feet and has erupted more than 50 times since the early 19th century. Despite this volatile geology, fertile volcanic ash enriches the soil, supporting vivid green fields of potatoes, cabbage, and onions that blanket the hillsides. Farmers cultivate these crops in terraced plots, adapting to steep gradients and cool temperatures that often dip below 50 degrees Fahrenheit at night. At dawn, visitors gather along the crater's rim as sunlight pierces drifting sulfur mist, revealing a landscape both fragile and powerful. In Chamorro Lawang, life thrives on the slopes of an active volcano, where destruction and renewal exist in constant, breathtaking balance. Koh Phangan. Floating off the limestone cliffs of Phang Nga Bay in southern Thailand, Koh Phangan is a village built almost entirely on stilts above emerald water. Founded more than 200 years ago by Indonesian Muslim fishermen, the settlement now supports over 1,000 residents on wooden platforms anchored into the shallow seabed. With no solid ground, except for a small limestone outcrop, homes are constructed from lightweight timber and corrugated metal, designed to flex with tidal shifts that can rise or fall by several feet each day. Narrow walkways connect houses, a floating market, and even a soccer field built from scrap wood and recycled materials. Despite limited land, children practice daily on this buoyant pitch, adapting to constant motion beneath their feet. Fishing remains central to survival, while tourism now supplements income. In Koh Phangan, architecture is not imposed on nature, it floats with it, demonstrating how community resilience can transform open sea into a living homeland. Kampong Fluk. Along the northern edge of Tonle Sap Lake in central Cambodia, Kampong Fluk rises from water that transforms dramatically with the seasons. During the monsoon, the lake can expand to more than 6 times its dry season size, swelling from roughly 1,000 square miles to over 6,000. In response, nearly 3,000 residents have built their wooden homes on stilts reaching up to 20 feet high, preparing for floodwaters that arrive like clockwork each year. Founded generations ago by fishing families, the village is surrounded by flooded mangrove forests that serve as natural nurseries for fish, sustaining one of Southeast Asia's richest freshwater ecosystems. In the dry season, boats rest on dusty ground beneath towering stilts. Months later, the same paths become canals navigated by paddle and motor. Life here is engineered for adaptation. Elevated schools, floating shops, and boat-based transport reflect a community shaped by hydrology. Kampong Fluk, survival is synchronized with the pulse of the lake itself. Lolo Chai Village. Near Vietnam's northernmost frontier, just a few miles from the Chinese border, Lolo Chai Village rests beneath the dramatic limestone peaks of Dong Van Karst Plateau, a UNESCO global geopark formed over 400 million years ago. Founded centuries ago by the Lolo ethnic minority, the village sits at nearly 4,000 feet above sea level, where winters can dip below 50 degrees Fahrenheit and mist lingers across jagged stone ridges. Homes are built in compact earthen clusters, their thick clay walls reinforced with stone to retain warmth against mountain winds. Traditional yin and yang tiled roofs curve gently over wooden beams, creating a distinct silhouette against the grey, karst backdrop. Courtyards are enclosed by rock fences, assembled by hand from local limestone, shaped by time. Today, visitors wander narrow stone paths between indigo-clad women embroidering vibrant geometric patterns. In Lolo Chai, geology defines architecture, and every step through the village feels like walking across layers of ancient earth and enduring culture. Balavan Plateau. High in southern Laos, the Balavan Plateau rises nearly 4,000 feet above sea level, shaped by ancient volcanic eruptions that left behind fertile basalt soil. Formed millions of years ago, this elevated landscape now supports dozens of small farming villages, scattered between rolling hills and dense forest. Rainfall here averages more than 100 inches a year, feeding dramatic waterfalls such as Tad Fane, where twin cascades plunge over 600 feet into a mist-filled gorge. Visitors can glide across the canyon on steel zip lines stretching several hundred yards, suspended high above roaring water, feeling both the force of gravity and the power of geology beneath them. Coffee is the plateau's lifeblood. Introduced by French colonists in the early 20th century, Arabica and Robusta beans now thrive in cool temperatures averaging 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Families hand-pick ripe cherries before sun-drying them on woven mats. In quiet wooden villages, elders gather beneath stilted homes, some women calmly smoking traditional bamboo pipes. On the Bolavan Plateau, adventure, agriculture, and ancestral rhythm coexist in a landscape forged by fire and rain. Hoi An. Hoi An, located along the Thu Bon River in central Vietnam, is a beautifully preserved trading port that dates back over 600 years. Recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the town blends Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, and European architectural influences, evident in its wooden shophouses, tiled roofs, and the iconic Japanese covered bridge built in the 17th century. Once a bustling hub on the Silk Route, Hoi An's geography, flat coastal plains bordered by rivers and rice paddies, made it ideal for maritime trade. Today, its lantern-lit streets, ancient assembly halls, and traditional craft villages reflect a deep cultural heritage. With a terrain shaped by both river and sea, and a history shaped by global exchange, Hoi An stands as a living museum of harmonious multicultural identity. Floating market. Thailand's iconic floating markets like Dam Noan Sarawak and Amphawa offer a vibrant window into centuries-old river life. Located about 60 miles southwest of Bangkok, these markets unfold along narrow canals originally dug in the mid-19th century during King Rama IV's reign to boost trade and irrigation. Wooden boats, paddled by local vendors in wide-brimmed hats, brim with tropical fruits, sizzling street food, flowers, and handmade crafts. Architecturally, stilted teak houses line the waterways, blending traditional Thai design with adaptive waterside living. Geographically, the markets thrive in low-lying floodplains where canals or klongs interlace fertile farmland. Floating markets are more than tourist gems. They're living heritage where commerce, history, and Thai hospitality float together on shimmering water. Chiang Mai. Nestled in a mountainous basin over 1,000 feet above sea level in northern Thailand, Chiang Mai is a captivating blend of ancient tradition and highland geography. Founded in the late 13th century as the capital of the Lanna Kingdom, the city is surrounded by forested hills, fertile valleys, and misty peaks that have shaped its culture for centuries. Chiang Mai's old town is still wrapped in remnants of medieval walls and moats, while over 300 temples, like Wat Phra Singh and the mountaintop Wat Phra That Doi Suthep, showcase golden spires, teak wood carvings, and Buddhist murals. Architecturally rich and spiritually vibrant, the city thrives on a fusion of Northern Thai, Burmese, and hill tribe influences. Surrounding villages preserve traditional crafts such as silk weaving, paper umbrella making, and woodwork. From the vibrant night markets to the sacred mountains that cradle it, Chiang Mai is where history, art, and nature live in harmony, one beautiful village heartbeat at a time.